Welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode is a little bit different because while this podcast usually speaks to men, at least I hope so, this topic is just as relevant for women. So if you're a woman on dating apps who keeps attracting the wrong kind of guy, men who only want something casual, men who don't take you seriously, or men who just disappear after a few dates, this episode is for you. That frustration you have, it's real. Feeling like you're putting yourself out there honestly and still ending up disappointed can be extremely exhausting. But there's another side to this story that rarely gets talked about. For men who are looking for something genuine, looking for something real, dating apps are just as frustrating. And it seems to me that there is somewhat of a disconnect between, photos and what you say you're looking for. So for women, frustrating, for men, frustrating. So let's try to figure this out and help each other and figure out how we can end up with great matches. Now, many men scroll through profiles where the stated intention is something serious. I'm looking for a real connection. I'm looking for something long term. Yet, ladies, your photos suggest something very different. And that disconnect creates confusion before a single message is exchanged. Dating profiles are a read quickly type of thing. Men aren't analyzing them in depth. They are reacting to signals. They're asking one simple question. What does dating her actually look like? What does dating her actually mean? Now, when the photos don't line up with the intention you stated, the wrong man will swipe right and the right man will swipe left. And everyone ends up wondering why dating feels so misaligned. So, we have to make sure that we align what we say and what we present and be a little bit honest about what we want. So, let's talk about some of these common things that, I come across on dating apps that are quite frustrating. So, let's see if we can fix it, ladies. And the first one is vacation photos. I mean, Vacation photos, they are everywhere. I get drowned in these vacation photos. And on their own, there's nothing wrong with them. Traveling can be enriching and meaningful, but when most of a profile consists of beaches and resorts and faraway cities, or, the stated text looking to plan my next trip, you know, many men don't read that as curiosity or growth. They read it as a lifestyle. It can suggest high financial expectations, constant movement, and a life that's built around experiences rather than routines. Men who are focused on stability, building something together, or simply living within their means often assume they wouldn't fit into that picture. They wouldn't fit in your life, even if that assumption isn't fair. But that's how we interpret these photos. And then we have the dreaded festival photos. They send another yet very strong signal. Crowds, loud music, men, drinking, sunglasses, chaos, the partying. To some men, that looks like a lot of fun. To others, it looks like a party centered phase of life. Men who want something calmer, more intentional, or more grounded often interpret this as incompatibility. It's not a judgment call. It's just saying, well, she looks like a party animal. That's not what I'm looking for. I want something to build a life with. I want children. I want to get married. I want to buy a house, stuff like that. A woman who's always out partying doesn't fit within that life. So guess what? We swipe left on you. And then we have the friend group photos, who can create a similar effect. When most pictures show nights out, group trips, and social scenes, men often read it as a life that is already full. There's nothing wrong with having friends, or doing something with friends, but it comes off as your life is already structured and full and prioritized elsewhere. You probably don't have time for me. It can feel like there is little room for a partner to actually build something meaningful. So, guess what happens? You guessed it, we swipe left on you. And then we have one that, I think is extremely cringy. And that is the wine photos, the drinking. I mean, there's nothing wrong with alcohol. You can drink, that's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. But wine photos, they are subtle, but repetition matters. One glass of wine says nothing. Several wine photos suggest that socializing, dating, and, relaxation revolve around alcohol. Men looking for depth and emotional availability often associate this with casual dating energy. Whoops, that's not what you want. So once again, I'm not saying that, drinking alcohol is a problem. You should drink. That's if you want to, that's fine. But we associate it often with casual dating energy. So that's what you're getting from us. You know, so even if that is not what you as a woman intend to communicate, you know, you want to show off that you're social, and that you like to relax and have a good time. But it comes off very different to guys. And then we have one that I think is extremely frustrating, and that is photos with kids. And that introduces complexity very early. Sometimes it's clear that they're your children, sometimes it's very unclear. Either way, many men pause not out of judgment, but because they're being asked to consider a level of responsibility before attraction has even formed. And dating apps aren't good at nuance. And this kind of complexity is a hard to place is well, it's hard to place in a swiped based environment, you know? And then when it comes to a photo with your children, if they're your children, that's fine. But why the hell would you post a photo with children that aren't yours? It's great that you are the cool aunt or that you are the cool godmother or whatever it is that you want to call it, what it is that you are. Those pictures have no place on a dating app, especially if they're not your children. It scares away men, I guarantee it. And then we have photos with another man. Those photos are often misunderstood. Also, why would you post a photo with another man? Just like the photos with the children, well, usually these aren't really great photos anyway, so maybe swipe it out for something else. Now, from a woman's perspective, it might feel obvious that the guy is a friend or a relative. But from a man's perspective, it creates uncertainty. Is it someone still in her life? Is it an ex? Is it a situationship? Who is this guy? We don't know. Men swipe quickly, and confusion usually leads to a pass. So, once again, these photos also have no place on your dating profile. Festival photos and sunglasses deserve one more mention because they share something important. They hide the eyes. And eyes is where connection starts. A profile full of sunglasses can feel guarded and distant or, impersonal, even if the person behind them is warm and open. What all these examples have in common, I mean, I can keep going. I don't want to keep bashing on the photos of women on dating profiles, but I just want to make something clear. What all these examples have in common is not bad intent. It's miscommunication, and a lot of miscommunication. Many women genuinely want something serious. I believe that is true. They want something stable and real. And I also genuinely believe that most men are looking for the same thing. But your profiles often emphasize excitement, independence, social proof, and lifestyle instead. Those signals attract attention, just often from men who are drawn to exactly that energy and nothing more. Meanwhile, men who want commitment quietly opt out. That's what we do. Not because the woman isn't attractive, but because the profile doesn't show a life that they can imagine themselves in. And that's where the frustration on both sides come in. Dating apps don't reward depth, they reward clarity. When your photos align with what you actually want, the entire dynamic shifts. You may get fewer matches, sure, but the quality will improve dramatically. Dating becomes less about sorting through the wrong people and more about meeting the right ones. And I think that benefits everyone. So, ladies, you know, take a look at your dating profile and have a look at the photos and see if the photos actually align with the things that you are stating on your profile. Thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.